So go to this page, misdemeanor, and look at the third video. 1, 2, 3. If you go on TikTok or on social media and you cry and whine about how fathers are treated bad, you get 24,000 comments and or 24,000, I think it was likes, and 2,400 comments, because every dad, every PAB, every little pussy ass bitch flocks to you because everybody wants to vent and whine, cry, piss, and moan, and they don't want to learn how to fight the right way, and they don't want to learn from somebody who won. We just love curling up and cuddling and spooning at Father's Rights Movement meetings with other dads who are whining and crying, and it's a noble thing to just whine and cry and sit there. And nobody's got any answers in the comments. Except me, I dropped a couple comments in there. So you get on there and say, I miss time. This guy says, I miss time that I'll never get back with my kid. And he's upset, and he's crying, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to just sit there and wallow in it and do nothing about it, but whine and cry? Go do contempt. Do a contempt motion. I got my baby's mom found in contempt the first time I tried, without an attorney. And she had an attorney with 17 years experience. And the guardian litem was on her side. The guardian litem wrote a report. Oh, it's a total misunderstanding that the father missed 5 days. And I got 4 out of 5 days. One day she took the child to the doctor, said the child was sick, so she had a legitimate excuse. The elements of contempt are a violation. You have a valid court order. You violated it. It was willful, and it was done in bad faith. And I proved that 4 of them she had no reasonable excuse for. Without reasonable excuse. That's number 5. That's element number 5. I looked up case law. I looked up the law. I got off my ass and didn't sit there and wallow in my sorrow. I was actually glad that the mother violated the order to a point, because I didn't have anything on her. She wasn't a drug dealer. She wasn't a crackhead. She didn't drink alcohol. I had one guy, my baby's mom is black, and I had one guy who came on my page and said, the only reason you won is because you married a black crackhead. First of all, I wasn't married. Second of all, my baby's mom is a human resource manager. This is the type of hate and jealousy and criticism I get from men. They just make up stupid stuff like that because they lost. And that was a guy who lost in court over and over again. And it was a guy who did a consult with me. He went to court one time and lost. And so he quit on my help. And then he hired attorneys, 3 different attorneys. And he said, I spent $20,000 on 3 different attorneys. And you screwed me over. And it's your fault, James. And you. He gave up after 1 hearing. I didn't lose, but I didn't win my first 3 hearings. I got 0 visitation my first try, and then I kept at it, and a couple months in, I got 5 days a week visitation because I didn't quit like that guy. And the guy who's a quitter is saying, the only reason I got custody is because I married a black crackhead. And when I told him, now what, you trailer park, white, garbage, racist, blah, 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 now what? Oh, well, it's only because you're in Washington State and she's a black woman. Washington State is an extremely liberal state that bends over for women and women of color and people of color. This is my haters. But back to this guy's page. Tens of thousands of views. Dad Talk Today, Eric Carroll. Big, fat, whining crybaby, Pussy. Hundreds of thousands of followers. Fathers are important. Whine, cry, piss, and moan. I steal videos from other pages and I repost them, and I get famous doing that. 50-50 Dads, same thing. All these pages that steal videos of dads getting screwed over. There's a video of the dad in Texas. He went over to get his kid. He's yelling at the mom. Then the stepdad comes out and says, look, man, get off our property. And he had every right to do that, because after the mother said no, what the dad should have done was turn around, grew some balls, and did a contempt motion like I did, and got her found in contempt. And then if she did it again, do another contempt and go for full custody. Because in states like Washington, if there's 2 contempts in 3 years, that's grounds for you to go for full custody. But most of you don't even try because you listen to an attorney who tells you some PAB strategy. Oh, don't do that. That's really harsh. There's a father's rights attorney in Los Angeles who posted, I would never do contempt because you don't get anything back like you would with money. If the contempt is about money, go ahead because you get money back. I got makeup time for what I missed. That guy lied to people because he's never done a contempt and he thinks dads can't win because of his losing history. You guys follow advice that doesn't make any freaking sense. Instead of following your own conscience, you follow a bunch of sissy, coward attorneys who are incompetent, and you know they're incompetent, but then you still want them because you're paranoid to represent yourself because you don't have at least one testicle that dropped. And then you go on pages like this guy and you whine, cry, piss, and moan. And then you got hundreds of thousands of followers, but you don't have your kid because you didn't grow some balls and get on the warpath and fight the war of attrition. A lot of people will tell me, well, I tried to fight and I argued and I lost. You didn't fight the right way, you pussy ass bitch. Grow some balls. Actually do. You know what people do who like don't get a job? They go out and acquire a new skill, or they get better and they learn some better interview skills. You know what people do when they don't make the team, or like a Kobe Bryant who loses a championship and he's burning inside and mad because he lost and he wants to win? He goes back to the drawing board and works harder. My gender, you guys out there, you lose and you don't say, what did I do wrong or what can I do better? The system is biased, it's against me, but my kids are worth my full effort. No, you don't do that. 90% of you go on social media and whine, cry, and piss and moan like a bunch of PABs. This is what's wrong. Everybody spends all their time whining, crying, pissing, and moaning. And I come out here and talk about solutions and how I won and show you my winning court orders. And 99% of you are like, oh, that dude is just bragging. I'm sitting here proving to you that I won to give you hope. This warehouse worker who flunked out of college destroyed an attorney with 17 years. I won in the Court of Appeals versus an attorney who ended up having 50 years experience before he retired. Let's see, he had 40 and like 45 years experience. At 2 different times I beat him in the Court of Appeals. And you guys are still whining, crying, pissing, moaning. Whine, cry, piss, moan. Whine, cry, piss, and moan. I'm sick and tired of it. I went to bed at night crying because I didn't see my daughter and it hurt really bad. But you know what? I got up the next day and I fought for her. Men who are off to war, they cry at night wishing they can come home. And you know what they do? They get up and they go to war and kill somebody so the war can be over faster. If you guys, all these PABs out here who are dads, are whining, crying, pissing and moaning at the Father's Rights Movement meetings, fruity cowards like Texas Penal Code 2503. Oh, if you're a pro se, you're going to lose because the courts don't like you. I told them, hey, I won in court. And I've dealt with thousands of pro ses who have won. Oh, James, you a-hole. You don't got a lot of followers. And because he lied and I caught him in a lie. All these victim mentality loser fathers that get a page and get popular, that's the Father's Rights Movement for you. A bunch of whining, crying, pissing and moaning little dudes who got vaginas. And they're proud of it. And they're out here just blatantly saying, I lost in court. Well, you did something wrong, or you had a biased judge that was so biased, no matter what you say, might not work. So then you do motions to recuse, you do a motion for revision, you do an appeal, you do a reconsideration, or you argue differently. The vast majority of people I talk to, actually probably 100%, there might be 1 out of a million exception. Every single person I talked to who went to court and lost and thought that they tried hard, missed out on dozens of strategies and things and tools and weapons in this war of attrition. And they're not fighting the long haul game of the war of attrition, and they want to quit. You're a bunch of pussies because you want to quit. This stuff is either one extreme or the other. There's no middleman, okay, I fought and I tried. No, if you quit, you're a pussy. You either fight all out until the end, until you are exhausted, and you take your case all the way to trial, and you have a 5-day trial where you put the mother on the stand and grill her for a full day. You tell your story for a day, day and a half. You have all your witnesses on the stand, and you represent yourself if you can't hire an attorney. A lot of you guys go to mediation, your attorney says, well, if you don't settle on this, then I'm going to quit, or you're going to pay me $20,000 for trial. Then I would tell an attorney, F you. You told me you're going to fight for 50-50. Well, I gave it a try and blah, blah. They never intended to do anything for you except go through the motions and collect $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 and you settle at mediation. That was the plan from the beginning. If you love your kids, then you won't be a PAB. Stop getting on here and just whining and crying and pissing and moaning. Go ahead and do your whining and crying. Let it out. That's fine. I'm not saying don't ever do that. But don't let that dominate you and paralyze you from taking some action. I know only 1% of you are actually going to hear or care what I'm saying because you want to wallow in your misery and commiserate with a bunch of other guys because misery loves company. And a bunch of gossip, feminine, gay boys love to just sit down and whine and cry, and they don't want to get better and learn how to do this because the system is so overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me too. But you know what? I moved forward anyway because my daughter was at the end of that tunnel, and I went through the tunnel.